this is what it is, right? So you either want to be right all the time or you want to follow a system. In trading, it goes like this. It's very simple. So you have to decide right now what it is you want to do, right? So this week has been there has been debate on was it if the decision to trade was a right or a wrong one. Or the answer is fairly simple. The answer is, if your system tells you that you can open positions or you can have some risk on, then it's a good time. If your system says you cannot, then it's not a good time. It's as simple as that. Now that depends on your system. Now your system might be wholly price action focused, so it will answer yes or no to trade wholly looking at your price action. That's fine. Now your system can have some other elements as well, like if it is partly price action, partly also looking at events, right? That's also fine. So if that's your system, there are other systems which does not look at price action at all. They look at something called macro events. They look at liquidity, they look at RBI rates, they look at Fed rates, they look at a lot of other things which at least I don't know, right? So if that system is telling you it's not a time to trade, then it's not a time to trade, right? So the question is very simple, right? Why do you need a system? And once you get to the question, then the other questions then follow. What happens if you don't have a system, right? Then only you will understand why you actually need a system. And even after having a system, what will happen if you don't trust your system, right? So these are the questions you have to answer, and these are extremely important questions which you have to wake up and answer yourself, okay, every day in front of the mirror. And the answer, everything goes back to this. You either want to be right all the time or you want to follow a system, because every system has some will give you losses. Losing trades are factored in a system, right? So why do you need a system? You need a system to make trading effortless. That means any decision you make, those decision has to be a system 1 level decision. System 1 level decision basically is, are you brushing your teeth? It's very very easy to brush your teeth because you know how to do it. Like, you have trained yourself since childhood. The other most common example is like, if you know how to ride a bike, ride a car, after some time it becomes a system 1 level decision, right? You know when to press the clutch, when to press the brake, when to press the accelerator. You can do some other things also when you're doing that. So that is why you need a system. And what happens when you don't have a system is that you will always be under stress. You will be second guessing yourself, So last 3 days, a lot of people are second guessing themselves. Oh, trade लेना है या नहीं लेना है, मैंने ये ले लिया, मेरे 2 trades गलत हो गए, शायद मेरे को नहीं लेना चाहिए था. So all of this second guessing happens, and you will be in a stressful environment while you are trading when you don't have a system. And that eventually will also lead to a lack of concentration to anything that you are doing. And anything without concentration, without repetition, you will lack mastery. You will not master the system if you don't have one. Even after someone gives you a system, what happens when you don't trust a system? This is even more dangerous than not having a system, right? Because if you don't trust a system entirely, you will actually never find a system in your entire trading career. And you will system hop from one to another. And inconsistent results will follow. Okay? And this will eventually make your progress so slow that sometimes even after 3 years, you'll find yourself thinking, have I gotten any better? Right? So, again, these are not exactly technical things. I will now basically go back to discuss a little bit about my system. Okay, my system is very simple. I look at breadth to take the decision about if I want to trade in the market or not. Okay, now see, the market regimes are different. The market regime overall currently is a market which we are on a downtrend. Okay, so you can see that we are making lower highs and lower lows as we go on. Okay, so the market itself currently is not a market where I will if I trade, it's a market where I will not hold something for a positional kind of a time period. Now positional for me, okay, trading is personal. For me, positional means anything more than 2-3 weeks to 6-7-8 months, right? In general, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add stocks which are on a starting in the uptrend and try to possibly hold as long as the uptrend lasts, right? So until and unless it hits my stop. So that could mean couple of weeks to couple of months. Now, given that the current market is not conducive for a positional kind of a trade, what I right now am doing is I'm only day trading or making swing trading. Okay. Now, generally, when am I swing trading? I'm swing trading when most indices are above the key moving averages. Like right now, until yesterday, until today, we were there, or when the breadth of the market is also improving. Okay, very simply. Now that once you know that, then you have to basically come to what are the things essential I look at when I say breadth. Okay, now when I say breadth, like I said, there are two things. One is the trend of the market, and when they talk about trend, it consists only of a direction. It doesn't consist of an intensity. मार्केट का ट्रेंड क्या है? मार्केट का ट्रेंड अप ट्रेंड हो सकता है या डाउन ट्रेंड हो सकता है या साइडवेज हो सकता है ना? तो फॉर एग्जांपल, और ये भी डिसाइड करेगा आप कौन से टाइम फ्रेम पे देख रहे हो. Like for a short term trend, generally people look at the trend over 10 days to 20 days. That's short term. Now for some people that could be long term. Like for someone who only day trades, 10 or 20 days is long term. For someone who holds for years, like a macro guy possibly will look at stock market from a 10-year kind of point of view. For him, 20 and 10 days is like extremely short. Okay, so these are very important things. So for me, 10 and 20 is a short term kind of a thing, 50 is sort of a medium kind of a thing, and 200 is a long term trend. So when I look at trend, I look at what are the percentage of stocks that are above that key moving average, and the more the number of stocks, more the percentage of stocks above the key moving averages, we are the trend of the market is either improving, declining, or going sideways. Okay, and the simpler way to look at it on an index would be if you in this time period, if you look at the 50-day moving average, it was not going anywhere. So on a positional time frame, this market was sideways. Before that, since March 23, we were on an uptrend. On a smaller time frame, on a medium time frame, we were on an uptrend. So moving average is sort of a proxy to look at the trend. Now, sometimes what may happen is that even if, let's say, 100% of stocks are above 50 DMA, let's say for example, or a key moving average, or 20 SMA, that will not tell you the power of the trend. Because let's say there are 100 stocks in the stock market. All of the 100 stocks in the last 5 days are above 20 DMA. Okay, so if you look at your breadth, you will look at 100% of stocks are above 20 DMA. So that means the trend would be very strong. But if the percent move in the 100 stock is only 1%, like 1% better from yesterday, that in the breath would still show you that, hey, 100% of the stocks are above key moving average, right? So to negate that, to look at is the market actually strong, what I look at is I look at momentum of the market. Okay, the momentum is very simple. Momentum is the rate of change. Means if you and me, we both are going to a destination, right? So we want to go to a Kaban Park from my place. If I cycle, it will take me around 1.5 hours. But if I take a cab, it will take me 20 to 30 minutes. So this is what it is. That's momentum. And whenever there are two ways. I've looked at momentum from so many different point of views. Okay, but there are two ways. One is a direct way, which is directly using the momentum. So in M swing, what I do is I plot what percentage of stocks are giving you a positive momentum in 20 and 50 day period. Okay, so it's very simple. Whenever the percentage of stocks increases, which are giving you a positive momentum, a momentum more than zero, which means that things are moving on the positive direction, it will increase. So this is the plot, right? So around March 18th, it started to move up, and then it turned today. Okay, it turned back today, like forcefully. And then the same thing in a different way. Also, the same looking at momentum in a different way is to look at the Landry plot. And the Landry plot doesn't calculate the momentum directly, like as a rate of change of price. It leans on this thing called ADX, which is again uses momentum only to do. So if the ADX is above 25 or 30, right now I'm using 30 because this guy Landry used 30. Okay, could be 25 also. If the ADX is more than 30 and the positive DI is above negative DI, which basically means that it's a positive momentum, you will get a plot. And if the number of stocks in positive momentum increases, that means the market momentum is also increasing. Now if you see, my Landry plot is flat in here because the stocks which are very high momentum has not been so in the last few days. Now if you change the momentum number from 30 to 24, perhaps the number of stocks will slightly increase. Okay, so this is semantics, but this is how I judge the state of the market. Now I have also tabulated this in this huge table, which is actually very easy to look at once you understand what you're looking at. And all of these things are very similar to one another. All of them are derived by price. All of them will give you either the trend or the momentum of the market. Okay, so the same things are tabulated here. What percentage of stocks are above 10 DMA? What percentage of stocks are above 20 DMA? What percentage of stocks are above 50 DMA? And if you are good with numbers, I generally am not good with numbers. I generally like to look at charts. But from here also you will look at that from 1st, 2nd and 3rd April, this number was increasing. 49, 60, 72, 52, say 64, 70, 76 and so on here. Okay. So in the last 3 days, the trend was increasing. Although on indices it might not look as such, but for someone who's not trading indices, this was the better representation of the market. Okay, same thing. M swing score was also increasing. 36, 47, 55, 60. Today it bashed to 38. Similarly, if you look at not M swing score, something called M swing average. So what here calculates is the whole market का जितना भी M swing score है उसका एक average निकालो. That also will give you a great representation of the state of the market. And until 1st April, for a long period of time, we had a negative M swing value of the market. Okay, you can go as far back as possible. The last time the market had a positive value was, I don't know when, but we'll find out. Yeah, 3rd January, and for 2 days. And we actually turned positive. Okay, we turned negative today. Landry modified. This is the Landry score, but slightly modified because in charting we cannot plot the actual Landry score here. But the modified Landry also was increasing till yesterday. Now, so this is trend breadth. Other way to look at the same thing, buying and selling, is to look at what percentage of stocks are moving more than 4%, what percent of stocks are moving more than negative 4%, right? So this is also a way to look at buying, selling, or you can say momentum of the market. So if you look at 1st April, 2nd April and 3rd April, all the 3 days we had 10% or more. Now, if you look at during bullish condition, what the net 4% numbers are, it generally is around more than 10% or more. Okay. So this was also a healthy market to trade as you were trading the counter trend bonds. So this is another number which is popularized by Umang, the MBI guy, and this basically is the ratio of net 4.5% movers divided by minus 4.5 movers, and you get a percentage of that. And generally the convention goes that any number more than 400 is a good number, 4.9 number to do swing trading. So according to that general convention, 1st April had double that, 800, 2nd April had 1500, 3rd April had 1025. So on that front as well, we had a environment which was conducive to swing trading. Now this, what I'm showing is the system by which I decide. Now I don't use 4-point-R from stand like as a single number. I look at this, I look at momentum, I also look at this, and a very simple indicator of what's happening in the market is if you just count on an average what has the stock done today in the market. So today on an average the stock on an average stocks have given up minus 3%. Of that minus 3%, overnight move was actually positive. So most stocks actually opened better than yesterday on an average, but more than 3% was given up intraday. Okay, today was highly bearish. It was not highly bearish, it was not a gap down. Most of the bearishness came after. Okay, so if you had been trading here with even a small amount of success, you could have saved a lot. This was not a gap down. And if you look at what happened in the last 3 days, on an average stocks moved 1.6%, on 1st April 1.2 and 1.4 yesterday. Okay, out of that, what came overnight, what came intraday is also here. So my point is this. Okay, so this is sort of, again, there are some other names, and these you don't require. This is over analysis, which I do sometimes, right? But what I'm trying to get into the bigger point is, since we are not trading as time pass, since we are doing this day in, day out, we need a system. We need a system for everything that starts with something that guides us when we can trade, when we can not trade. And it should be simple. That can be a couple of numbers, that can be just one number. Just pick one number here and say that this is my system, I'll trade. Most of it will tell you the same story. Okay, you don't have to look at every other number, you just need to have a system. Why? Because I'll go back to the presentation again. Why having this system is very important. It will make it effortless. Okay, it'll make it effortless. You will gain a lot of insight. You will become a master of that. And you know what? This system will fail sometimes. Sometimes it will say that, hey, sometimes what happens is, okay, the market is rising, M swing is rising, this is rising, that is rising. But what happens? You open up 2 trades and both of them will not work. That will happen. No system will shield you from losses. It's part and parcel of the game. But if you want to be right all the time, then it will be difficult for you to follow a system. I'm telling you guys, it's as simple as that. No system will shield you. At least I don't know of any other system which will shield you from not taking a loss. My system doesn't allow you to get in a stock before the market gets bullish. There are some systems perhaps which will know that after 2 days market is going to get bullish, I'm going to get in now. There are perhaps some system which will know after I gapped up 5%, now this stock is going to fall 20% and I'm going to go out. My system doesn't tell that. So I cannot teach you that. I can only say this is my system. Works 50% of the time or more. Sometimes it might not work. Now this time I had a lot more names that worked on my favor and lot less that did not work. It could happen. I was lucky here. Honestly, I was lucky here to pick a lot of winners. It has happened a lot of times, okay, during this periods. I remember during this 3-day bounce, which was again not a swing trading bounce, counter trend bounce. Okay, I remember during this 3 days, I picked 2 stocks and both of them failed. But I picked because at that time the system said, hey, you can now go. Like I remember 31st Jan 1, these 3 or 4 days, MBI or the market breadth was getting better. But my stock selection was bad. Or I was just unlucky. The stocks did not behave. Maybe my stops were too tight. So you will not shield yourself from losses. Now, just because you are afraid to take your loss, you cannot conceal that fear behind saying that, hey, look, like, you cannot use the result to justify the effectiveness of a system. If you are doing that, you are doing it all wrong. And if you do that every time, you will not be able to gain trust on your system. Now, I am not asking you to trust this system blindly. You have the numbers, go back and look how it has behaved. Do that for yourself. For stock selection, I follow the top 100 to top 200 list. I am not telling you that you have to use that list. You can look for yourself. You can go back. I will give you a sheet of all stocks which did really well in the last 2 years, which went 200, 300, 400%. You look, when the move started, could you catch the names in that top 100 list or not? If you look at the stocks that have done well for me right now, NACL was number 1 in the list. This is today's list. NACL has been number 1 since a long time. KSCL was in the top 20 but has moved in the last 3 days. Okay. Now if you want to look at stocks, how did 50 weeks ago? If you want that data, I can give you. It looks like this. NACL started its outperformance on this week 20 days ago. NACL looked like this 5 days ago. yesterday it looked like this, today it looks like this. So you can backtest all of these data, but you have to execute how you execute something every day, every week. Okay, this is almost turning out like a rant, but I don't mean it like a rant.
And I think what you said is right. Like basically, like your trade may go wrong, but only you need just one winner, right? If you pick like one, then even then you make the loss in other two. It will kind of compensate. You don't lose money. It's still okay. It will develop that habit, saying that you bat correctly, and then it will work out really good. Again, I mean, as you say, if your system says you can take a trade, take it. Otherwise, I mean, if you want to consistently make money, you have to learn the new skills. Maybe a shorting, maybe a intraday. I mean, I don't know. It depends upon you, who you are, and what you want to trade. So that's the idea.
One thing I want to like more specifically point out, so I think it is because everyone wants to win all the time. It's not possible. Like sometimes the system, even if says go, it turns out to be a false signal, or turns out to be something happens, like tariff happened, and it did not react yesterday, but it reacted today. So there is no point like saying that, hey, this is right, this is wrong. If it works for you, it works for you.
I looked at over 500 episodic pivot trades starting 2020. I looked at a lot of data. You know this, but this is for everybody else. Because I wanted to go like a little deeper and into like 3-minute, 25-minute time frame, I took out about 185. I just want to tell everybody that over half of the trades, was out of 185 trades, 128 trades, right? That's almost 70% of those trades occurred. Those EPs actually occurred from the top 200 lists. Half of those trades were from the top 100 stocks. So anybody who had just been tracking the top 100 list would have possibly come across 90 of those EPs, of those 180 trades that happened in the last 12 months. And the win rate is pretty good, but I mean, it's a back test, so there'll be some overfitting there. So I won't look at the win rates, but I also looked at returns, right? I put in some sell rules and said, okay, look, realistically, what kind of money could be made on these trades? The highest returns, right? 30% plus returns came from most of those high return trades were concentrated in the top 100 list. So again, I mean, I'm just saying, like, don't listen to anybody who's telling you the RS 100 list is great or bad or whatever. Like, if you look at the data yourself, I mean, I was shocked. Like, I was expecting to find some names here or there, but like every other trade I looked at, it was in the top 100 list at that time. So just like my 2 cents.
Yeah, thanks, Manish. Yeah, it also makes sense intuitively. Also, like they are the ones which has momentum, and yeah. But coming back to the greater discussion is, hey, I'm not asking you all to trade exactly how I am. Okay, that's the basic first thing. The second thing is, all I'm asking you is, if you have a system, be consistent with it. Because not having a system is not as harmful as actually having a system and not sticking with it. So this is very very important. And yeah, I mean, it's good to follow social media and this and that, but also there is some amount of harm that can come also, because in social media there is, I mean, the human nature will push yourself to always look at, or wanting to look at, being right all the time. Okay, and you will curve it and try to make yourself look at, you don't lose. Anyways, that's not possible. I will apologize if today's session sounded more like a rant than the usual ones. just wanted to make it more clear, especially as someone who has done a lot of system hopping, a lot of stock hopping, and had gone through what it feels like currently. I almost had like a string of 12 to 14 losses in 2022, and that was the time when I used to hop a lot. I used to hop a lot of systems. I actually did not have a system, and something very, very similar might be happening to a lot of us. And I'm telling you, it's all right. Your system will throw some losses. It's fine. Okay. So I'll stop here and wish you guys a great weekend, and I'll see you soon then. Bye bye.